Good day, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. So today, this evening, we're not going to talk about arguments. We're talking about tactics.
Wait, there's more.
Because when foundational Black Americans tell the truth, and a lot of these arguments and or debates that we have from the Tether class of African and Caribbean immigrants, the response from the Tether class isn't logic. It's psychological warfare. Tethers don't come to debate. They come to destabilize. And when truth corners them, they reach for their favorite weapons: gaslighting, projection, and hate, and basically lies, because that's essentially what they do. This isn't new. It's colonial carryover. Again, this mindset of the colonized mind stems back from the Berlin Conference, in my opinion. That act didn't just carve land, it carved the minds. Colonial powers trained elites to imitate whiteness and police their own people. As I stated before, Frantz Fanon wrote back in Black Skin, White Mask of the colonized man is envious of the colonizer's power, wealth, and even his skin. Those trained minds, those tethered minds, learn to equate proximity to whiteness with superiority, and that reflex survived migration, no less. So when tethers debate FBAs, they use gaslighting to erase outlived truth. When you mention slavery, they say that was so long ago. When you mention reparation, they say we all suffered. When you mention systematic racism, they say we made it. Why can't you?
I live here now.
And the reason for that is when immigrants from all these other countries come here, they get supported by the federal government. That was revealed under the Biden administration, of all the trinkets and benefits and social benefits that a lot of immigrants from other countries receive coming into America.
It will never end.
And they don't stand up and fight for anything, because if they did, they know they will get deported back to their own country, and they definitely don't want to go back there.
Why are you here?
See, this is colonial mimicry, repeating white supremacist logic through a darker mouthpiece. They tell you Africans work harder and Caribbeans are smarter, not realizing that FBA resistance built every structure they now stand on, whether it be the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the GI Bill expansion, affirmative action, DEI, HBCUs. All of those were created by foundational Black Americans, directly or indirectly, that hasn't benefited FBAs in no sense or indeed of the words. These aren't global handouts. Their lineage, reparations disguised as diversity. See, projection is when the guilty accuses the innocent, and that's what they always do. Tethers accuse FBAs of being divisive, as they always do.
It's a work of art.
They accuse us of being jealous and xenophobic, when in reality, it's their resentment of our foundational role that drives this conflicts. You hear lines like, "You Americans think you're better," or they call us Yankee. "We all Black, stop dividing us." You'll hear that from the domestic tethers as well as the international tethers. But those statements erase history, do they not? You don't tell Haitian revolutionaries to stop talking about Toast Lavere and all the great people of the War of 1804 that helped them be revolutionary and free from French colonial powers. You don't hear that. Tunalini, I forgot the exact pronunciation of the name, but you guys know what I'm referring to. You don't tell Nigerians to forget their tribes.
That's messed up.
Yoruba, Igbo, you don't tell them to forget those things. So why tell FBAs to forget their lineage?
Toxic.
See, that's not unity, that's dominance disguised as brotherhood. When truth shadows their narrative, hate shows its face. They start to get into name calling and calling us slave babies and hanging this and hanging that. They call us the N-word. They use all these very degrading, disparaging, deflammatory terms, which is the logic of white supremacy. See, tethers resort to ridicule, marking FBA dialect, fashion, music, or lack of culture, even though we are the culture and we don't need to go down that line. But let's be clear, this is envy dressed as elitism. Our music shaped the world because we have so much of it. We damn near created every genre of music with the exception.
Okay.
I won't even go there. I'm gonna leave it alone. See how movements shape democracy, no less. Our struggle made their visas possible. See, without us, you wouldn't be here. But they don't care about that. No, you guys didn't have nothing to do with it. The white man let us over here because we're smarter. But see, the data proves it. Again, if you go back to the 1965 HARTCELLER Immigration Act, known as the Hart-Celler Immigration Act, which opened the door for African and Caribbean immigration, it was passed because of the civil rights movement led by FBAs. They arrived on ships of opportunity that we built. So when they scorn us, they scorn their source.
That's right.
See, these tactics just don't live online in these groups on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. They're funded and they're formalized. At HBCU, scholarship programs meant for descendants of U.S. chattel slavery now fund non-FBA students in record numbers. We talked about this for quite some time. See, in corporate America, the Bloomberg found that 80% of post-2020 racial equity pledges went to multi-ethnic global boards, not lineage-based FBA organization. And this is systematic gaslighting, replacing the people while claiming inclusion. See, you can't hate a tether. No, you can't hate a tether, but you can outthink them.
I choose violence.
When they gaslight, bring receipts. When they project, mirror the truth. When they hate, stand unbothered. They will love to get you out of your spirit. That's why they say some of these very racist, discriminatory, bigotry terms, because they believe it's going to get us out of our spirit and out of our energy. They look at some of these video clips on X and some of these video clips on TikTok when a white person or a non-black person call a foundational Black American N-word. We go in and we sock them in the jaw. That is what they're trying to do online. This is how they gaslight us. This is how they project. This is how they get us outside of ourselves. Don't fall for the tricks. The goal isn't to convince them of the truth. The goal isn't to convince them of our legacy. The goal isn't to convince them of our lineage. It's to educate the audience watching the debate. Because the fight isn't for their respect. It's for our representations. So FBAs are not angry. We're just aware. We don't debate our identity, we defend it. Because when every other group gets to claim a nation, a lineage, and a legacy, we would not be shamed for claiming ours. So you can't gaslight history. You can't project progress. You can't hate the foundation, expect the house to stand. Please. Get out of here with that. And if you're so smarter and you so work harder and you're so much better and so successful, and I'm talking to the Tether class, not all Caribbeans and Africans, not you guys, just the Tether class of you guys, as well as those domestic Tethers right here in America. There were guys under the FBA flag. In that case, then go back to your country, go back to the Caribbean, go back to Africa and do better.